you pregnant and alone? You have options. The Sanctuary of Hope offers expectant mothers ages 12 to 22 a place to live, medical care, counseling, continued education, and options to raise your baby in a loving environment or help you with adoption. We want to help provide you and your baby with a bright future. Call us or email us today and let's walk through this together. 210-499-1554 or sohcares.org. All inquiries are confidential.
The Dear Agency specializes in helping you understand your coverage before you need it. We offer all lines of personal and commercial insurance, including auto, home, and life. Contact Dawn Deere at 210-507-2169 and visit us at 7529 North Loop 1604 in Live Oak, Texas, or farmersagent.com/ddeer.
You are listening to I Am Refocused Radio with your host, Shamaya Reed. This show is designed to inspire you to live your purpose and regain your focus. And now, here's your host, Shamaya Reed.
Hey, welcome to I Am Refocused Radio. We are here once again on Sunday morning. And man, it's San Antonio. We're on the 12th floor, 9:30 a.m. The Answer Studios. We have a special guest today. His name is JP Lane. He served our country. We're about to know everything that he's doing today. And we're going to get that story right now. Welcome to the show. How are you doing, sir?
Oh, thank you very much for having me. I appreciate it.
So first of all, tell the audience a little backdrop story of who you are.
Yeah, so I am a double amputee Purple Heart veteran and living God's plan for me.
And you're doing a lot of things in the community, and we're going to get right into that pretty soon. But before we dive into that, tell us about the military career, man. How was that for you?
It was pretty exciting. I mean, I had a blast, no pun intended. But I joined in 2008 shortly after I graduated high school, of course, because back when I was an 8th grader, I saw the Twin Towers fall, and it was devastating to me, so that I made a promise back then that I would join the military and fight so that that never happens again. So I joined in 2008, shortly after high school, and I went up to the recruiter's office and I said, "What's the most dangerous job you can give me?" And they said, "You want to search for bombs and blow things up?" And I said, "Yeah, that sounds like a blast. Let's do that." So I signed the dotted line, and little did I know I would be shipping off to Afghanistan 2 years later.
In which branch did you go?
The Army.
The Army?
Yeah, the best one. It's the best one.
And once you got into your assignment, what was military life? Like, paint that picture for the audience, man. Like, what were some of the things that were expected of you, of course, and you and your brothers, man?
Yeah, so we would train on multiple different things, depending on what your job was. For us, we would train on certain vehicles that we knew we were going to use over in theater. In Afghanistan, we would learn how to operate those vehicles to the 100%. We would go through each American weapon system because we would be using those overseas, like the Mark 19, which is ultimately a massive grenade launcher, M249, all these different rifles and weapon systems. We'd train on those, perfect our skill set in that. We would obviously have to run through things for emergency purposes, like what's called the 9 line. And so those are the steps that we take when something traumatic happens, and just so many things that as military soldiers we have to train and go through and perfect before even going to a war zone.
And once again, we're listening to 9:30 a.m. The Answer. I'm Refocused Radio. We're talking to the one and only JP Lane. He served our country. And let's get to that moment where that situation happened to you. Take us back to that time and kind of paint the picture for the audience.
My job was to search for IEDs in Afghanistan. So that's what we did on a daily basis. And that fatal day, it was July 2nd, 2011. And it was actually my day off. So my platoon sergeant comes into my tent and asks the group of soldiers in my tent, "Hey, we need more soldiers to volunteer for this mission because we miscalculated who wants to volunteer." And I was like, "Oh, I'll go. It's not like I'm doing anything." So I get my gear, I get my weapon, my snacks, everything that I normally take on mission. And we head out to the vehicles, and I get up into the gunner's turret, which is normally where I was most of my missions. And I was in the last vehicle in the convoy. And so I'm up sitting in the gunner's turret, and we leave our base and the gates close, and little did I know that would be the last time I would ever see that base again. We're required to clear the most dangerous route in Afghanistan called Route Red Stripe twice that day, which wasn't normal. We normally would clear a route once and then move on to the next route. So we hit that route early in the morning, and the truck in front of us gets blown up immediately. Everybody was okay. The truck was totaled, obviously. So we had to call out back to the base and say, hey, we need a new crew and a new truck to come replace this one so we can continue our mission for the rest of the day. As that was happening, my buddy was like, hey, Lane, you want to switch spots? He was in the driver's seat and I was in the gunner's turret. I was like, yeah, sure, that's fine. We're about to go home in like a month or so. So we switched spots. Everything got situated with the new truck and crew. And we continued on. We covered the other routes, made sure they were cleared of IEDs, and then we came back later that afternoon to cover that Route Red Stripe one last time. Well, while we were gone, the Taliban had plenty of time to bury a bigger, stronger IED in the same hole we were just blown up in. So they put a 200-pound directional charged IED in the hole, buried it, and made it look like cars had been driving over it since the morning. And we passed through, and my truck, as soon as it was on top of it, the guy watching pressed the trigger, and it blew my truck up and flipped onto the right side. Now, my adrenaline, when you get blown up, your adrenaline is pumping so hard you don't really know anything that physically happens to you. And we're trained to do one thing only, and that is to check for our battles, make sure our soldiers are okay, check for ourselves, then check for our weapon. That is the system in what we were trained to do. So that's the only thing running through our minds. Little did I know my legs were pretty much destroyed and amputated. My left femur snapped in half. My pelvis snapped in half. My spine dislocated from my pelvis. My right arm snapped in half. My right middle finger was amputated. My 4 front teeth were knocked out. And everything inside my torso was destroyed by shrapnel except for my heart and my left lung. So I was pretty much a mess inside the truck, and I had no idea. I was laying on top of my passenger because like I said, my torso, my pelvis was snapped in half, so my upper body was just laying on top of him and suffocating him. And he was like, Lane, get off me. I can't breathe. And so I used everything I could with my left arm and my broken right arm to push myself off of him and hold myself up so that I wouldn't suffocate my own buddy. And so it was at the same moment where I looked down and saw myself and realized that my pants were completely bloody all the way down. And I was like, okay, I'm probably messed up more than I thought. And immediately after that, I fell into a coma and I was out. And at that same time, one of my soldiers had hopped out of their truck, hopped onto the top of our truck, and my driver's door was blown off in the initial blast. And I believe they found it like 100 meters away. That's a 500-pound door. Wow. So that kind of shows how huge this IED blast was. Well, they got up on top and they pulled me out of the truck at the same moment that I went limp. As soon as they got me down to the ground, the medic worked on me, put tourniquets on my legs and everything, and started pumping IV bags into my body to keep me alive. And he said that they pumped 6 IV bags in my body before the helicopter even landed.
You listen to I Am Refocused Radio on 9:30 a.m. The Answer. Host Shemaya Reed talking to JP Lane, Purple Heart recipient. And once again, thank you for your service for this country, serving with the Army. And when you started the journey of recovery, because you're doing a lot today.
Yeah.
And when it came to that recovering your life, talk to us about that. What was going through your mind as you started the process of recovery?
Well, I knew I couldn't do it by myself. when I tried focusing on, I'm a tough man, the Army built me strong, which was true partially, I figured I could do it all by myself. The therapy, the pain, the mental situations that I was going through, but I couldn't, because at the end of the day, when I was trying to do it by myself, I almost committed suicide a dozen times. And so after that, and I was pretty much looking in the mirror, I was like, okay, you know what? I have faith. Why am I not using it? And why am I not seeking God's help with this situation? I'm trying to just do this all by myself. And I'm like, okay, God, it's your turn. As everyone's favorite song, Jesus Take the Wheel. That pretty much life story of telling Jesus to take the wheel. Give me the strength, because walking in prosthetics is not only uncomfortable, it can be painful by the end of every single day, with the thoughts that are running through my head that I should give up, I'm useless, I'm not worth anything, I'm a half a man, all of these things running through my thoughts, which, as we know, is not of God. So I tell him, take those thoughts away. And throughout all of the therapy, that's literally what I was doing. God, you got control of this. Give me the strength. And I kid you not, to this day, I still hold the record as the fastest double amputee in and out of therapy in 6 months because of that.
Wow.
Yeah. A lot of my soldiers that were going through therapy in the same situations, they would be like, Lane, how are you so happy? How do you have a smile on your face when this situation, it honestly sucks? It's not good. And I'm like, yeah, it's not good, but at the same time, look at what you're missing and what I have. And I have a smile, and you hate your life. So a lot of those guys started really going to church and realizing, yeah, you're right. There's a difference when you give God the control and let him give you the strength to overcome this tragedy, and when you're trying to do it on your own.
And once again, you listen to 9:30 a.m. The Answer. We have an exclusive, man, Mr. J.P. Lane, Purple Heart recipient, and he served his country with the Army. And today, you're doing so much. You're an inspirational speaker, and you're also a performer. Mm-hmm. You perform your guitar and you sing. Yeah. Tell the audience all about that. How did that come about? When did that start?
Yeah, so obviously in my current situation of being a double amputee and not really knowing what life is going to bring anymore, because I thought I had it all before I lost my legs, I kind of got in a little, I guess, conversation / argument with God, like one day, and I was like, look, that's great, you're keeping me alive, but what am I going to do with my life? I need a purpose here. Without purpose, there's no reason to be here. And so I need you to show me and give me a sign of what you want me to do with my life, and give me a passion. And he said, I already gave you a passion. It's music. So pick up a guitar and go and do it. And he inspired me through a song I heard on the radio when I was at one of my weakest moments, and it's called Only a Mountain by Jason Castro. And so I was listening to that song, and it talks about our situations only being a mountain. You tell it to move, it'll move. And for me, it meant I can get past this. I can have a future. I can have a purpose. And so I picked up a guitar and started practicing, learning how to play. And of course, I covered Only a Mountain first, right? Because that song pretty much saved my life and gave me a purpose. Mm-hmm. And I put it on YouTube, and 3.5 months later, I'm singing at Obama's inauguration. Wow. Same song. And so I didn't realize that I thought music was going to be my therapy and the purpose, not a career with a purpose. Mm-hmm. And so it's just amazing what happens when you give God the reins.
And if you listen to right now, you can go to his website. It's jpsjourney.com. That's jpsjourney.com. And now you're out there telling your story, just like you're doing on This Morning on Sunday. You're telling your story to people. What are some people's reaction when they hear details of what you had to go through to where you are today?
Yeah, a lot of the times we need boxes of tissues around.
Mm-hmm. I'm fighting about it.
Yeah, I'm fighting. So, which is a good thing, because it's not tears of sadness. It's tears of, wow, look what God can do. Mm-hmm. Look at everybody's these days are just, they don't remember that there's miracles that can happen, like big miracles. For example, I had 28 surgeries. I died twice on the operating table. And one of the surgeries that I had is a tracheotomy in my throat. And they put a tube down your throat because you're not breathing through your nose or your mouth. And when they took that tube out, they destroyed all sorts of things in there, including my vocal cords. And so what happened was I had to go through speech therapy, learn how to talk again. And the doctors told my parents I wouldn't sing ever. And God was probably out there laughing hysterically because he was like, no, actually, that's what I want him to do. Here I am now performing all over the world and singing and having a good time with the passion that I love. And on top of that, I mean, it's just a blessing because I get to write the whole story and tell everyone about it.
And when you are able to travel and talk to people, are there any times where you get to talk to one-on-one and someone tells you a story like, hey, like, because you told your story, now I can fight and get over what I'm going through?
Yeah, I've been honored and blessed to hear two, I think actually three now. 3 specific people have come up to me personally and said, after my testimony, they weren't going to commit suicide. That is huge because I know for a fact that suicide is a big topic in the world. And for every person that I can inspire not to do it because they have a purpose, they just need to go and find it and listen to God give them the purpose. It's just that simple. It really is. If I can do it, they can do it, right? And 3 people not taking their lives, I'll take it. All the suffering is worth it. And that's actually kind of why I wrote my book, Walking Again, because I want to reach more people. I might not be there physically in front of them, but I want to reach as many people as possible to remind them never give up, never surrender.
You listen to 9:30 a.m. The Answer, talking to JP Lane. And about your book, people are always looking for something good to read. So how can people get this book, Walking Again?
Yeah, they can actually get a regular copy on Amazon. Just type in Walking Again by JP Lane, or they can actually go to my website that you mentioned earlier, jpsjourney.com, and get an autographed, personalized copy, which is really nice. But it's really cool because I love the cover of my book. It kind of shows what God can do. It's my what I call evolution, right? From the wheelchair and pretty much head down and not having any purpose in life to standing, saluting proudly in prosthetics and strong because God's given me the strength to overcome all things. So
there's a lot of military here in San Antonio. They say military USA.
Yeah.
So for the military people out here, our veterans and those who are currently serving, what words of encouragement would you give out to them?
To remind them number one, what the military taught us. If they don't have any faith, I would tell them to search for it. Find God, seek God. Even I had at this moment the faith of a mustard seed. Okay, my faith wasn't all big and massive. Okay, when I was blown up, I had the faith of a mustard seed, and that was just enough to get me through my tragedy. So I tell people, remember what the military taught us: never give up, never surrender. That didn't mean never give up, never surrender. But if something tragic happens, like you get your legs blown off, you can go ahead and give up at that point because that's horrible. No, never give up, never surrender, period. And I can do that with my faith.
Man, I hope y'all are listening. Like, I hope you turn up the volume on your knob or on your smart device because this is really good stuff right here on 9:30 a.m. The Answer, Army Focus Radio. JP Lane, Army veteran. You are doing something that is special for the community of just the United States, man. Like, just for this country. Yeah. You're traveling, telling your story of not how you just survived, but you turn a bad situation into not just a great story, but opportunity to show people what happens when you don't quit. What do you say to someone who is on the fence of quitting right now? They're listening to the show. They almost want to quit. What would you say to tell them to keep going?
That God made you a warrior. A lot of the times I like to relate, the people call me a wounded warrior, right? And everybody in this world likes to remind us of our wounds, our mistakes, our this, our that. But God doesn't remind us of any of that stuff. Every single day you wake up, he says, you're a warrior and I created you to be one. So I tell people, don't even call me a wounded warrior, because I'm not one. If you've gotten a paper cut in your lifetime, people don't call you paper cut boy.
That's good. Right?
You know what I mean? So why would I want to be called a wounded warrior when God made me just a warrior? So to those who are listening, they need to be reminded every single morning when they wake up that, number one, it's a blessed day. They're up, they're breathing. It's 24 hours they got to do something amazing with. And number two, never ever give up, because God made you a warrior to be strong and fight for each day.
Man, that's golden right here, what you're listening to on this radio, because so many people have so many options to make excuses.
Mm-hmm.
And listening to your story, you chose not to make any excuses at all, when you rightfully could have.
Yeah.
You could have just settled. What was, going back just a little bit, what was going through your mind when you were fighting to survive? Like, what were you telling yourself, or what were you hearing as, you know, if it was God or whatever, what was keeping you together?
Well, obviously my family that was telling me to keep pushing on, but there was one thing that I've kept on reminding myself. I signed the dotted line to serve and protect the American people, and I'm not dead yet.
Wow.
So I might not be in the U.S. Army anymore, but I'm still in God's army, and that contract is still active. I'm still going to serve, period. So the fact that that is something that I hold dear to my heart, and I'm still breathing with each day I wake up, I need to remind myself I'm still under contract. I need to keep going. I need to keep doing this and inspire as many people as possible. My wife and I, Crystal, she's beautiful. She reminds me when I don't want to do it. But we have on our mirror and our garage door that leads into the garage, it says inspire 1,000,000 times 10 people. That's our goal. So every single morning we wake up and we walk out the door, or we're looking at the mirror, we remind each other. That's the goal. We're still in contract. Let's keep doing this.
And you mentioned purpose in the show today. What would you encourage someone who is struggling to find their purpose in life?
Pray about it. I mean, it's not always going to be like, oh, yeah, this is my purpose. I'm ready to go. Sometimes people are lost. I have warriors that have told me, I don't know what I'm going to do with my life. I don't have purpose. Okay, then you pray about that purpose and tell God to show you what the purpose is. For me, I knew in my heart from day one, I've always loved music, okay? I was a drummer forever, so I knew that when God reminded me my purpose and my passion is my music, oh, well, there you go. Easy answer. But for those who are still wondering, just pray about it. Yeah. It's really not that hard to pray. It is the easiest answer.
And once again, you listen to 9:30 a.m. The Answer. I'm Refocused Radio host, Shemai Reed, talking to the Army veteran, J.P. Lane, Purple Heart recipient. And you need to share this story with everybody. And real quick, do a little recruiting for the Army branch, man.
For the Army?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I have a lot of friends that they have kids and they're like, oh, I want to grow up to be in the Army just like JP. I'm like, well, don't just be like JP, because, I mean, unless you want to be a superhero, an Iron Man with prosthetic legs. But if your passion is to join the military, then you're going to know, because your body, your soul, your heart, your mind, it's going to tell you, I want to join and I want to serve. So if you want to join, you want to serve, of course, I'm going to encourage you to go Army, because there is no other branch in my heart. But the point is, you don't serve, you don't sign up for school, you don't sign up for because your friend's doing it. You sign up because in your heart, all you want to do is serve and protect the American people. That's why you sign up. There should be no other reason. Yeah, the benefits come with it, right? But you'd sign up because in your heart and soul, you want to protect the American people.
And once again, we're talking to JP Lane, and you can get his book, Walking Again, on Amazon. And if you want to find more information, you can go to jpsjourney.com. That's JPSJOURNEY.com. And before we let you go today, how can people book you if they want you to come to the event to do some inspirational speaking and also your performing?
Yeah, so they can always look me up on social media, JP Lane Official, Facebook, Instagram, all that stuff. If they want to book us directly, they can always go to jpsjourney.com, and my executive director and team will get the messages that they put in from the website. So,
anything you would like to tell the listening audience before we let you go, sir?
Hey, just remember, never give up, never surrender. If I can do it and I can live life with the biggest smile on my face, then you can too.
Well, once again, this is I Am Refocused Radio on 9:30 a.m. The Answer, talking to JP Lane. Make sure you go to jpsjourney.com to find out more information on what he's going to do and get his book, Walking Again, on Amazon. Like we say on every single show, keep God first, stay focused, and peace.
San Antonio. Need a barber? Visit our good friend Rico Rodriguez, the owner of Rockafellas Barbershop in San Antonio, Texas, 1733 Babcock Road, and book your appointment today by calling 210-782-5188.